In a world where appearances often mask true intentions, it's rare for someone to admit their dislike for another openly. Instead, they hide behind cordial smiles, hollow praise, and forced civility, weaving an illusion of amiability that can be disarming. I, too, have walked this path, believing in the sincerity of others only to discover that behind those pleasant facades lay silent wishes for my downfall. It's a harsh reality, but an essential one to grasp. Without recognizing the subtleties of concealed hatred, you risk devoting precious time and emotional energy to people who, at their core, are indifferent or even antagonistic toward you. For those who tread the path of Stoicism and value the strength of discernment, acknowledging these signs becomes not just a defense but a means of living more authentically. Facing this truth is not for the faint of heart, but the alternative, living in oblivion, is far worse. So, let us strip away the pretense and delve into the signs that someone harbors hidden disdain. You may find the revelations uncomfortable, even unsettling, but as any Stoic knows, the path to self-improvement is paved not with comforting lies, but with stark truths that challenge us to grow. Sign 1. Joking about your flaws. We've all known someone who enjoys a good laugh at our expense, wrapping their barbs in humor that's easy to dismiss as playful. They poke fun at your quirks, exaggerate your mistakes, and even highlight your vulnerabilities with a grin that says, "I'm only kidding." At first, it's tempting to brush it off, to tell yourself it's harmless banter among friends. But a deeper, more unsettling pattern is at play if you look closely. These so-called jokes are often more than fleeting remarks. They're carefully aimed, striking where you're most vulnerable. I remember someone who would constantly joke about how I presented myself, subtly pointing out what they called endearing flaws in my character and choices. At first, I joined in the laughter, believing it was all in good fun. However, as time passed, I noticed the comments were never balanced. They never celebrated my strengths or acknowledged my growth. Instead, they fixated on what could be twisted into a flaw. This behavior is not about friendly teasing. It's a tactic, a way to test the waters of how much disrespect you're willing to endure. It's an insidious form of power play wrapped in humor, designed to reinforce a social hierarchy where they remain superior, and you subconsciously accept your position beneath them. The worst part? Society's unspoken rule is that if you don't laugh along, you're the one who can't take a joke. But here's the Stoic truth. Knowing when to stand up for yourself is not a weakness but a testament to your self-respect and understanding of your value. Those who chip away at your confidence under the guise of humor reveal more about their insecurities than they do about your supposed flaws. Recognizing this dynamic is essential for maintaining your dignity and ensuring that your environment supports growth, not diminishes it. Sign 2. Compliments that sting like insults. There's a kind of compliment that leaves you questioning whether you've just been praised or subtly insulted. These backhanded compliments come wrapped in warm words, but once unraveled, they reveal an underlying jab that hits deeper than expected. Imagine sharing an achievement you worked tirelessly on, only to hear someone say with a smile, "Wow, I'm impressed. You pulled it off." The initial spark of pride quickly gives way to confusion as you process those final words. What did they mean by actually? Was I not expected to succeed? This type of comment isn't accidental. It's a strategic choice to keep you in check while appearing supportive. Backhanded compliments are meant to disarm, a subtle way for someone to assert their superiority while veiling their intentions in civility. It's a power play that feeds off your doubt, encouraging you to second-guess your capabilities and keep your confidence in check. The Stoic insight here is profound. These comments are more a reflection of the giver's insecurities than a measure of your worth. The more profound danger lies in how easily these disguised insults can seep into your perception of self-worth if left unchallenged. You might start attributing their subtle criticisms to truths about yourself, which erodes your confidence from the inside out. Recognizing these compliments for what they are is essential. It isn't about overreacting. It's about seeing through the veneer of politeness and understanding that real encouragement builds up rather than cuts down. If you find yourself on the receiving end of such remarks, take a moment to pause and reflect. The real question to ask is, who benefits from this disguised approval? True friends celebrate your victories without reservations or hidden messages. Cultivating a circle that uplifts without double meanings is essential for personal growth and peace of mind. Sign 3. Subtle exclusion from plans. The quiet moments of exclusion often sting the most, leaving you wondering if you were forgotten or deliberately overlooked. The dinner that everyone attended but you, the group outing that was last minute, or the weekend trip where they assumed you were busy. At first, it's easy to rationalize it as an oversight, telling yourself that everyone makes mistakes or that you simply weren't available. But when this pattern repeats, a painful truth emerges. These accidents may not be so accidental. I remember once glancing at social media and seeing familiar faces gathered at an event I would have loved to join. My first thought was to blame myself. Maybe I hadn't made my interest known, or perhaps I hadn't been as present with the group as I thought. But deeper reflection unveiled an unsettling reality. The lack of invitation was not about my actions, but rather about where I stood in their lives. It's a form of quiet exclusion, a passive-aggressive signal that your presence isn't valued as highly as you might think. The Stoic response to this realization is one of clarity and strength. People who genuinely care about you make an effort to include you, no matter how spontaneous the plan may be. When they don't, it's a sign that your value in their life may not match the weight you place on theirs. And while it's tempting to accept excuses, "Oh, it was last minute," or "we thought you were busy," doing so allows others to define your worth. Genuine relationships are marked by effort and thoughtfulness, not convenience. Ignoring these signs means accepting a passive role in your narrative, hoping for inclusion where it isn't offered. I learned that staying silent and letting these exclusions slide only reinforces them. When I finally started speaking up, asking why I wasn't invited, it led to uncomfortable but illuminating conversations. Some connections grew stronger with newfound awareness, while others revealed their true nature and faded away. The Stoic lesson here is to confront reality with courage. If someone excludes you repeatedly, it's time to reconsider their role in your life. You deserve to be in relationships where your presence is valued and your absence is felt, not where your involvement depends on the whims of others. Seek the company of those who genuinely celebrate and include you, not because they have to, but because they want to. In the end, relationships built on genuine care withstand the test of both joy and silence. Sign 4. They're busy only when it comes to you. We've all heard the refrain, "I'm so busy these days." It's the perfect excuse, simple, relatable, and impossible to argue with. After all, everyone is juggling commitments and obligations. But a more profound truth begins to surface when someone always seems to find time for others while perpetually too busy for you. It's not about their schedule, it's about their priorities. I've experienced this firsthand, reaching out to someone I considered a close friend only to be met with many reasons why they couldn't meet. Yet, days later, I'd see them sharing photos of outings with others, effortlessly making time for gatherings that didn't include me. The Stoic mindset urges us to look beyond appearances and confront reality as it is. When someone is consistently busy only when it comes to you, it's a sign that their priorities don't align with your expectations of the relationship. This isn't an easy realization to make. We want to believe that those we care about reciprocate our attention and that their claimed busyness is genuine. But authentic connections don't leave you wondering where you stand. They are marked by intentional effort, not selective convenience. Society teaches us to accept busy as an irrefutable justification, reinforcing the belief that questioning it would seem needy or demanding. However, Stoicism advocates for an honest assessment of relationships. If someone only fits you in when it's convenient or leaves you feeling like an afterthought, it's essential to recognize that for what it is. People make time for what matters to them. If your interactions always feel secondary, that's not a coincidence. It's a choice on their part. I recall confronting a friend about this pattern. The conversation was uncomfortable and laced with defensiveness. Yet, it brought clarity. Some relationships shifted, others faded, but the outcome was worth the initial discomfort. I stopped waiting for someone's leftover attention and began investing in connections where I was valued. The more profound lesson here is about self-worth and valuing your time. Your energy is precious, and expending it on those who cannot make time for you drains more than your schedule. It drains your spirit. The Stoic approach encourages embracing this reality without bitterness and moving forward with intention. Surround yourself with people who make you feel seen and appreciated, who understand that busy is not an excuse but a choice. You align your life with those who recognize your value and contribute to your growth and well-being. Sign 5. They avoid physical contact like the plague. Physical contact is a fundamental form of human connection, whether a simple handshake, a friendly pat on the back, or a casual touch on the arm. It's not just reserved for romantic relationships. It's a language that communicates trust, comfort, and openness. But when someone consistently avoids physical interaction with you, yet appears perfectly at ease with others, it's worth pausing to understand why. I once worked alongside someone who greeted everyone warmly, with easy hugs and enthusiastic high fives. But when it came to me, there was always a step back, a stiffening, a palpable discomfort that spoke volumes. Stoic philosophy teaches us to observe without distortion and see things as they are. And in this case, the absence of touch is more than just a personal preference. It's a sign of a more profound disconnection. Selective avoidance of physical contact is often a subtle indicator that someone is creating distance, whether consciously or subconsciously. It's a boundary they set, signaling that, for whatever reason, they are not comfortable letting you into their personal space. This can be painful to acknowledge, as we're conditioned to look for obvious signs of affection or aversion. But body language, especially the avoidance of touch, speaks in whispers that cut deeper than words. While some people are naturally less tactile, the key lies in discernment. When you notice that they're physically open with others but reserved with you, it reveals more than a personal quirk. It exposes the nature of your connection. The Stoic approach encourages us not to ignore these cues or make excuses for them, but to accept them for what they represent. Understanding this doesn't mean you must react with frustration or hurt. Instead, it invites you to approach the situation with rational inquiry. There was a time when I chose to ignore these signals, convincing myself it was simply their way of being. But over time, it became clear that their selective behavior mirrors how they saw our relationship, polite but distant, courteous but detached. When I finally brought it up, the conversation was uncomfortable, filled with stammering explanations and nervous laughter. Yet it confirmed what I had suspected. There was an unspoken barrier between us that I had been unwilling to see. The more profound lesson for those on the path of Stoicism and self-development is understanding that relationships should not leave you hesitant or uncertain. They should not be defined by invisible walls that others place between you and them. While respecting people's boundaries is vital, it's equally essential to recognize when those boundaries reveal a lack of trust or connection. You deserve relationships where physical interaction flows naturally, where trust and openness are reciprocated without hesitation. Pay attention to these subtle cues. They often tell you more about where you stand than 1,000 words ever could. Sign 6. They disappear when you need support. Nothing tests the true strength of a relationship like a moment of crisis. When life becomes difficult and the road ahead seems impossible, the people who stand by your side reveal themselves. Yet, A particular pain comes from realizing that someone you trusted is conspicuously absent during your most challenging times. They may have been there for the laughs, the celebrations, and the good days. But when the clouds gather and the weight of hardship sets in, their presence becomes a memory. I remember a phase in my life when I was dealing with personal challenges that shook my foundation. I reached out to those I considered close, expecting at least a word of encouragement or a moment of their time. Instead, there was only silence. Recognizing this kind of neglect is essential for those who study Stoicism and seek to cultivate resilience. The ancient Stoics valued relationships anchored in genuine virtue. Relationships where presence was not a matter of convenience but shared commitment. When someone consistently vanishes at the sign of difficulty, it is not just disappointing, it's revealing. Their absence communicates a silent truth. They were only there for the comfort of companionship, not the responsibility of support. It's tempting to rationalize their behavior. Tell yourself they were busy, or that everyone struggles. However, as Stoicism would have us acknowledge, the reality is often more direct. Support doesn't appear when it's easy and vanishes when it becomes inconvenient. It measures how much someone truly values you. The absence of that support sends a message that whispers that you aren't a priority when life's circumstances shift from bright to dim. I once confronted this silence, reaching out to someone after a long period of feeling ignored during a challenging time. Their response was riddled with excuses, work, obligations, the stress of their own life. But the truth was clear. They chose not to be there when it mattered most. While the conversation was uncomfortable and left a sting, it allowed me to recalibrate my expectations and understand the true nature of that relationship. The lesson here is profound yet simple. Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge human behavior's realities without bitterness and accept that some relationships are superficial and fleeting. It's not an invitation to cynicism, but instead to clarity. Invest your time and energy in those who stand by you, not just when the sun is shining, but when the storm is raging. Let the absence of others be a filter that helps you identify who truly deserves a place in your life. Life is too precious to hold space for fair-weather friends. Embrace those who offer support not just when it's easy, but when it's needed most. They are the ones who embody the true meaning of friendship and connection. Sign 7. They gossip about you behind your back. Gossip is like a silent toxin that seeps into the cracks of trust and spreads until it shatters the strongest bonds. It may start innocuously, just whispers passed between friends or idle chatter disguised as concern. But when you learn that someone you thought was a confidant has been speaking about you behind your back, it cuts more profoundly than any direct insult. I once confided in someone I trusted, sharing struggles that I hadn't talked about with anyone else. It felt like a release, an unburdening that I thought was safe in the friendship circle. But before long, I heard my own words echoed back to me, warped and twisted by the mouths of others. The person I trusted had turned my vulnerability into a story to tell. Understanding the nature of gossip is crucial for those committed to the principles of Stoicism and personal growth. It is more than just idle talk. It is a betrayal that undermines your sense of security. The Stoics remind us to align ourselves with people of integrity who act with honor even when no one is watching. If someone is quick to gossip about others to you, take it as a warning. They are likely doing the same behind your back. This behavior is not about harmless conversation. It's about power. Gossip serves as a way for people to elevate themselves by diminishing others, a subtle play that reinforces their sense of superiority while eroding trust. Recognizing that someone in your life engages in this behavior can be difficult. You may feel tempted to excuse it, telling yourself that everyone sometimes gossips. But the Stoic path calls for deeper reflection. If someone values your friendship, they will protect your confidence, not turn them into currency for social gain. I remember speaking to the friend who betrayed my trust when confronted with this reality. Their reaction was defensive, minimizing their actions with phrases like, "I was just venting," or "I didn't mean any harm." But intentions do not undo consequences. The bond we once shared was irrevocably changed, and I knew that trust could no longer be part of that equation. The more profound Stoic lesson here is cutting ties with those who spread gossip and learning to value and uphold trust in your interactions. Genuine relationships thrive on mutual respect, where confident words remain sacred. Embracing this understanding helps you build a circle that aligns with your values. People who are steadfast and understand that true loyalty means supporting you both in public and private. Gossip, at its core, reveals more about the gossiper than the subject. It is a reflection of their character, their insecurities, and their need to create drama where there should be calm. Recognizing this protects your peace and prioritizes connections that contribute positively to your growth. Surround yourself with those who choose honest conversations over whispered half-truths, and you'll find that life becomes more prosperous, your circle stronger, and your path more aligned with the principles of wisdom and virtue. Conclusion: life is too short to invest your energy in relationships that drain you, undermine your worth, or disguise ill intentions with superficial pleasantries. Understanding who genuinely supports you and who doesn't can be challenging, but it is essential for those who seek a life aligned with Stoic virtues. Authentic connections uplift and support you without hesitation or hidden agendas. They thrive on mutual respect, shared values, and unwavering loyalty. Recognizing the subtle signs of hidden animosity empowers you to make choices that protect your peace and foster genuine growth. The Stoics believed in confronting reality with courage and accepting the truth, no matter how uncomfortable. This principle guides us to reevaluate the connections in our lives, discerning those worth nurturing from those who need to be let go. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, offer honest counsel, and celebrate your strengths without resentment. This isn't about fostering suspicion or paranoia. It's about seeking clarity and maintaining relationships that contribute to your journey towards self-improvement and resilience. So, take a step back and assess the people around you. Are they lifting you up or subtly holding you back? Are they there in both the bright moments and the dark? If not, have the courage to step away, knowing that self-respect and inner peace are worth far more than forced connections. If this exploration of Stoic wisdom and personal development resonates with you, consider subscribing to this channel. Here, we delve into ancient philosophy and practical life lessons that help you navigate the complexities of modern relationships, build emotional resilience, and foster a life rich in purpose and integrity. Join our community as we continue to seek wisdom and empower each other on this path of self-discovery and strength. Stay true, stay grounded, and remember that your value is not negotiable.